And let's update the Bryceometer to the exact place it was. It is as low as it will go without being in the is Cam available part of the meter. I refuse to suggest anything that involves replacing Bryce, but I've never gained confidence in a quarterback when they start changing coaches around him. Mm-hmm. That's hard. That's often what's contributed with ruining a quarterback. When they, he's had this many head coaches and this many coordinators in his first X amount of years, that's usually like an excuse. That's like, hey, he never really had a chance. At minimum, Bryce Young will have 4 play caller changes in his first season going into his second season. Because from Frank Reich to Thomas Brown, that's 1. From Thomas Brown to Frank Reich, that's 2. From Frank Reich to Thomas Brown again, that's 3. From Thomas Brown to whoever's calling plays next year, that's 4. That's not a good incubator to develop a quarterback. If you include interim and whoever they hire next year, in his first 18 games, he'll have 3 head coaches, Frank Reich, now Chris Tabor, whoever they hire next year. Mm-hmm. He'll have 2 offensive coordinators, Thomas Brown and whoever they bring in next year. He'll have 3 quarterbacks coaches. He'll have Josh McCown, whoever they have for the rest of the year. I guess it's Caldwell kind of stepping into that role.
I guess, yeah. And
then whoever they have for next year. That can't raise confidence.
Third play caller?
Third play caller on a fifth play calling switch.
Yeah.
Like there's absolute young quarterbacks crave consistency. This guy has had no consistency around him. Not to mention the fact that I would guess his number 1 wide receiver will change. I would guess someone in the backfield might change. I would guess most of the players up front will change. Right? DJ Chark signed a 1-year deal. I don't expect him coming back. They have to make some kind of splash with an offensive player, maybe a T. Higgins, which would be better but would not be consistent. There are some reasons to be optimistic about what's happening with Bryce Young, right? We talked about it yesterday. Quieting the noise in the quarterback room, having less cooks in the kitchen, meaning Bryce Young, as recently as a week ago, was trying to listen to Frank Reich's advice, Thomas Brown's advice, Jim Caldwell's advice, Josh McCown's advice, and assistant head coach / running backs coach Deuce Staley's advice, not to mention what maybe Andy Dalton is kicking in as a veteran quarterback in the room, and not to mention, his own voice, right? What he wants to do and things that he thinks is right. So that's 7 voices right there, including Bryce's. After 1 week, it's down to 4. And one of them is Bryce's own voice. So it's really down to 3, from 6 to 3. If you mix in that Jim Caldwell and Thomas Brown might have streamlined that relationship a little bit now that there's not so many voices, I don't think Caldwell's going to be talking directly to Bryce often, right? He'll be dealing with Thomas Brown. So going from 6, maybe 7 voices to 3 is reason to be optimistic, but it's not consistent. It's different. And it's different in so many ways. Chris Canty on Unsportsmanlike Morning Show. You can hear it every morning right here on 99.9 The Fan. His co-hosts Evan Cohen, Michelle Smallman. Chris Canty answered the question on, can Bryce Young still be good?
To say that Bryce Young can't be a competent NFL quarterback is irresponsible. But I also think it's equally as irresponsible to think that Bryce Young is going to be better than C.J. Stroud based on what we've seen. Like, looking at the trajectory of the 2 players, I don't think there's an argument to be made about who the better pro is going to be. It's C.J. Stroud. And it's just what it is. Now, I'm not saying that Bryce Young can't be good, but clearly in hindsight, the pick was C.J. Stroud, not Bryce Young.